probably by losing a couple ecos. Or
Oh,
maybe
no,
the
no, no.
pistol rounds.
No. Complexity fell apart that
Did
game.
they?
I caught some.
Okay.
Yeah,
16-14. Still relatively close. And I think it's just because you're banding down to one map, so it's not always going to be your best map. It's going to be an equal ground map. And I bet Skade just played pretty well. I think losing BO1s happen, but then you look against Endpoint. They haven't let Endpoint. They've played them twice in 2 BO3s. They haven't let Endpoint get hit double digits once, which is kind of crazy. Endpoint have tried, but every time we watch, seems like Complexity just seemingly come to like Endpoint might start the game well, but it never ends well. But Complexity, yeah, I don't know. I think if we're being realist, it's Complexity are obviously the favorites. I think the weakness is if you're playing Complexity in a best of 5 and you can get overpass as a pick. But even then, like, they're going to ban it, so you're not even going to get it. So I don't see any advantage for Endpoint, unfortunately. None. And I don't really see any weakness in Complexity unless you catch them on that off day.
Well, listen, at the same time, Scriv, we do have a veto out, and this is slightly different to the past weeks, because now Endpoint have got themselves the dreaded verticality map, which will mess with casters' minds till the end of times. It's Vertigo, the pick coming through from Endpoint. And that's kind of surprising. They are good on it, but is this a big upset map versus Complexity? Because I know Complexity plays it too. So what are we looking for, Scriv?
I think so. There's a lot of potential for Crucial. We've talked all about him, right? To pop off on the CT side particularly. But also maybe they have indeed been putting their work in. Once again, a little bit of a difficult draw. They have played this team before, so there's stuff to work on for them in terms of, the VODs and whatnot. So I definitely think that it is doable. Vertigo is a difficult map to cast, but also a difficult map to play, right? There's a lot going on. And I think it's definitely possible that Complexity get a bit ahead of themselves on this map. And like I say, Endpoint, they've had some time, go away and work on it. It is definitely doable here for them to perhaps catch them off guard with a bit of a map pick out of left field. But at the same time, Complexity, like you say, it's not completely foreign to them. So,
well, we'll put a pin in that. We'll put a pin in that for a second and come back to what you think about the actual result. You're hesitating to say it, but I know that UK spirit inside you is creeping out slowly. But the second map is what concerns me. And for that, we're going to take a look at the Endpoint groups and how they went as well, because we can refer to them for this particular one. Because Nuke has so far been Endpoint's first ban. And now, ever since this week came around, they have changed it. But you can see there, Keith, against Salamander, that 16-7 in the first map, that was Nuke. And Endpoint, they got 7 rounds on their CT side, 0 rounds on their T side. That's scary.
Yeah, if your T side can't get going, you might be in some trouble. I mean, the goal kind of on the CT side is you set yourself up to have an easy T side, right? You get those 10 CT rounds, and then you kind of hopefully have a smooth, easygoing T side. Even if you lose pistol, it's okay. But yeah, that doesn't bode really well for the fact that Complexity are now going to have Nuke against you. A map that on the T side, you have to fight for control early. You have to have very sound defaults and trading. And you have to be able to get information on the CT side and justify your rotates. So I think it's a perfect map for Complexity. It's difficult to play, hard to master type of map. But again, even with Vertigo, they've played before, and I don't know if you guys remember, but Poison just absolutely popped off on them. So I am very worried because I feel like the Vertigo, the more I watch it, the more I can see how it can be CT-sided, and it can lead to double op setups and a bit more secure setups. But I'm still so sold on it being T-sided. Unless your CT side is really good at getting A ramp control, which is kind of like top mid and Mirage, I kind of compare it to. Because without A ramp control or pressure at the beginning, you're never really going to bait those nades. The riflers will just kind of wait and jiggle peek the deep angle. I don't know. I want to see more from Endpoint because I remember they started getting rounds on their T side when they started defaulting appropriately. But that's when Complexity's not running at you and looking for those duels. So I don't know. Again, it's hard to be on a 4-0 streak if you're Complexity against Endpoint and try to find some light. But it's kind of all on Endpoint to show us in the server what they got.
Well, okay, guys, this is where we're going to partake in an activity, which is called Finding the Light. And in this, we will collectively put our minds together. And I am not going to be partaking because, I don't have much of a mind to start with when it comes to Counter-Strike. But Scriv, is there any hope for Endpoint to be able to take complexity in Nuke?
No, I don't think so, to be honest.
Oh.
The thing is, the parameters that are required are just too great, I think, in the sense that Endpoint have to play their best Counter-Strike, right? I would say 3 out of the 5 of them need to be having, the best game that they're going to have this month, if not possibly for the rest of the year, right? And then you also need complexity to be down a few levels. That is kind of assuming if complexity drop off an absolute cliff and start playing terribly, then maybe the effort doesn't need to be. But I'm trying to think realistically, right? Endpoint need to play really, really well, and then complexity needs to be at their kind of okay game, right? Where maybe they have one of their players playing well, but the rest of the team seems to go missing. But even then, it's still going to be so hard.
If you're painting such a dire picture, then I'm just scared of what Keith has to say about this. And Keith, I'm sure you can sum it up in a sentence or two. I'm going to pretend that I can't hear you. I'm taking my headphones off. I don't want to be hurt more.
Do you want to just know about Nuke? Do you want to know about the whole BO3 as a whole?
Nuke.
Yeah, Nuke. No, I think if they play reactionary CS and don't get baited by complexity are really good at getting someone in secret, baiting rotates. They want that vent player to drop. Because A, it gives that squeaky door player a little more room to work with to pressure mini and pressure sight. Also, it gives that player that went down secret a little bit more of a target practice to either find that rotator or find that vent player and kind of dictate where they want to go. They're really good at heaven splits. They're really good at going down vent and coming back up vent and catching you off pace. And on their CT side, they're really good at just getting information. You have to deal with poison in heaven and hell and outside. You need to avoid getting picked by poison, who's going to be all over the place. B, make sure you're not getting cut off by the rifle aggression that you know you're coming. And C, bait utility and have clean executes. Can Endpoint do all this in the same BO3? And that's just on one side and one map? I don't know. But I think if they play reactionary, they play confident, they do have the talent. It's just, do they have the structure and protocols as sound as complexity do? I think that's what it comes down to.
Well, listen, last map is Dust 2. That's a map that we've seen played out between these two teams quite often. I'm personally I'm a little bit infatuated with Endpoint's Dust 2, but it seems like complexity has been disillusioned by it multiple times over, as they have generally come out on top. I think the answer there should be pretty much the same for you guys in terms of what the win condition is, but I want predictions now. Scriv, give me your best case prediction. Just take everything at its optimal level for Endpoint. Nothing ridiculous, but walk me through this.
So I think the complexity 2-0, right? But I feel like if we get a close map here, if Endpoint can get to 11, 12 rounds, they can even be happy with that, to be honest. So if they manage to pick up a little something on Vertigo, then I think they can be happy with it. But I just don't see them getting a map, honestly. Even trying to be nice.
Keith, are you going to be nice?
Yeah, I mean, every time they play complexity, it's a learning curve, right? It's a chance to learn and test defaults against some of the best players in the world. Complexity are maybe not there yet due to the circuit being paused. I do believe they'll get there. So I think this is a learning experience for Endpoint again. I don't see them taking the BO3 at all. I think it's going to be 2-0 complexity. And I'm going to make a guess and say Endpoint don't even hit double digits again.
Well, man, I just have to sit here and feel bad for Endpoint because every time they 2-0 their group and they end up coming against Complexity because Complexity flubbed it in some best of one out there. So I feel bad for them, but unfortunately feeling bad isn't the same thing as being correct. So I'm going to have to call it a 2-0 for Complexity as well. And I'll let you guys take it into Vertigo to see whether or not maybe Endpoint can be, the one to prove us wrong.
I'm going to be honest with you, Scriv. I'm down for Endpoint to prove us wrong. I really am. I want them to. In fact, I know they can do it with Robin, who played really well in their last Vertigo match. And I'm assuming we're going to see more of that. But But for all of them, they all have to have a good game. And that's kind of the hard thing against Complexity, is everyone playing to the best of your ability, all at the same time, Scriv.
Yeah, it needs, as we've said in the pregame, an awful lot of caveats. But here we go into the pistol. See what they can get done here. A little bit of early aggression does seem to work out initially. First head does roll, and it's Thomas to find the frag. So a really quick opener coming in. The A site immediately is under threat. So definitely not looking good here for Complexity, to be honest. Bombplank going to come in at the very least. They do have everybody choked in, so they've got to be very, very careful. Honestly, on either side of the equation, it does indeed seem that it's Complexity who need to be careful, as they've yet to lose a player on the Endpoint side of things. Blame F tagged down very low indeed as well. Config missing all the shots. It looks like the round might just go the way of Endpoint.
It's looking likely. Blame F, last one standing in heaven. Doesn't have much health or really a kit to work with, and he may get caught off by Thomas here. He's gonna try to save. I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm a bit of a realist. Blame F's just kind of caught running all over. He'll finally get out. Endpoint pick up the pistol. It's a quick pace one. Heads up towards A ramp, and it's hey, simple is best at times. Scriv didn't overthink it. Took it to the sights. Won the duels they have to. But may I say, it's great to win a pistol. It's another to win the second round cleanly. Most teams force in this situation, and if you're unable to pick up the round after pistol, you're in shambles. Your economy is in such an absolute hole. It's hard to get out of early. So this is a big one for Endpoint. They want to win this with at least 3 players alive, get the rifles they invested out of it, and not feed the beast at his Complexity too early. And it begins.
Yep. Poison is left low. Oh my god. No way. No way. Oh, Endpoint, you've got a feel for them. It's a terrible start to the second round, but there's just not much they can do about it. Spam through the wall. 2 crazy headshots from Poison. Real and Mighty Max going to try and pick up the pieces. Oh my goodness. I do not envy them in this situation.
That is brutal. Poison gets 2 with his scout. Worst case saloon. And Endpoint walk into that. They're gonna at least try to get them bomb plant money, because it's gonna be a double save if they lose this. Money max down to 19. Surreal 52. It's the Deagles looking for them, hunting for them. Surreal has to make a play here towards short. He's gonna post up. Config comes first. He wins the fight. Time's becoming an issue for Complexity. No kit. Endpoint are playing a long time. I think Complexity have lost this themselves. They just tiptoe and walk into the site. They take their sweet time, and they don't pressure Endpoint at all. Endpoint are gonna get out of this. Granted, with 4 players gone, but that seemed oddly paced by Complexity. Endpoint, yes, they lose 4 players, but you know what? They get the round on the board, and now they can even pad that stat a little bit.
Yeah, even after the heroics here, 3 incredibly quick kills go against them. I think they only managed to trade back Poison initially. And yet they're able to come out on top of it. I mean, sure, they've got the superior weaponry, but you feel like with the man advantage, Complexity should have got that done. I think we're all thinking that right now. Little bit of a different setup. They are liking the A bomb site here on the Endpoint side of things. So 5 HEs and 2 Deagles could spell devastation if Endpoint are not careful. Got to be very, very cautious. Oh, Config gonna eat a nade. Are they going to return them here on the CT side? They're waiting. They're waiting for the opportune moment. It could be absolutely massive if they get it right. 1 goes in. Tiny bit of damage. The second one's also been expended and not done anything. Still got 3 left, though. Definitely doable here, or maybe it's just the Deagles. Poison looking so good so far as he gets a second head. How is he able to get away with this round after round after round? Oh my goodness. 4 on 3 coming in. I think they're still going to be able to clean it up, but still, Poison is demolishing.
And he can only afford that Deagle because of all the kills he gets, and he's budgeted for and up. Crazy. And if this is how this game's starting, I am very nervous when guns come out for Complexity. They are playing with confidence. Poison specifically towards ramp. Endpoint should be able to get this. Surreal in a 1v2. Obo has an AK. The flash is too deep. Surreal can just worry about this one-on-one. And Obo wins it with no armor. Doesn't take a single bullet. And they've got the defuse, Scriv. Oh.
It's incredibly close.
Remember what I said in the pre-show? Oh, no. Doesn't have it. That's
pretty big.
That sucks. But, I mean, they still kill all 5 players from Endpoint. Typically, in this situation, if you win pistol, you beat the Force, you get the free bubble 3rd round, you would have money. You would have a fallback plan, right? You would have 2 buys secured. Instead, it's Complexity putting you in a, like, whoever wins first rifle round sets themselves up to get a freebie after. So Endpoint have put themselves in an awkward situation. And as I said, last time they played, Poison popped off. Blame F had a big game. Will those 2 players come to play? I mean, so far, clearly Poison is.
All right. Let's see what they got on the rifles then. They've come so very close here on the Complexity side of things. Endpoint, I think, going to be shaking in their boots. Trying to make the B-bomb site work this time around, and Complexity playing it a little bit more passive. Deep smoke coming in though, and Surreal is now isolated. Do they recognize that he's here? Obo has got to be so very careful. Oh, not! He gets a double spray down. They fluff it up on the T side. Config as well, coming in with a double of his own. And just like that, the round is over. Thomas in a 1-on-5 on the other side of the map, ultimately not able to find anything at all. Oh, Endpoint. Oh, no.
Ooh. I told you when the guns came out, Scriv. I mean, I guess I didn't have to be a genius to make a statement like that, but I was just getting the vibes by the pistols that Complexity are coming into this overflowing with confidence. You've beaten Endpoint on this exact map in the exact tournament, just with a different number at the end, Scriv. They've been here, they know their tendencies, they know what they like to do. And Complexity, it looks like they're going to put some boot to ass and see if they can't just keep it going, Scriv. Yeah, they're down 2 rounds, but again, as I said last round, Endpoint don't have that little security blanket of another secured rifle around here, as they should have. And if Complexity can do it with pistols, rifles are looking deadly. I want to believe, Scriv, I do. I swear I'm not a negative Nancy today.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. I feel you, but it definitely, you know, just immediately out of the gate is not good, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, the first few rounds, they get the pistol, it's great, it's nice and flawless, but very, very quickly, it just falls apart. Mighty Max does trade one back here. We'll see. I think Complexity early on Vertigo, at the very least, are learning, okay, a bit of respect. A little bit of respect, perhaps, needs to be shown, as they are indeed, as we say in the UKCS, they're shooting back, man. You know, it's definitely possible here. So, gotta be careful. But so far, not much else coming. Config, though, going to creep in towards mid. Gets himself a double spray down. Catches them with their pants down completely there. That should, in theory, be all she wrote. It will indeed. Rush needs a bit of assistance, but he manages to get the 2K in the end.
Yeah, the Force comes in from Endpoint. No luck. They kill 1 player, so only 1 guy has to rebuy. Everyone else gets $1,400. Full utility. Good to go again. Endpoint going to take a save here. Complexity should be able to tie us up at 3s. Config's hunting. Wants that ADR. And he is going to get it. Locking it down. Getting the warm-up he needs. It's unfortunate if Endpoint do get that gun. The weapon's empty, and Rush isn't going to let it happen. And this is where Poison may elect to just drop his gun and buy an op. Second rifle round. Going into round 7. And you can see everyone from Complexity clearly ready for the match. It's not early in the morning for them, Scriv.
Certainly true. Everybody coming to play today. Looking good across the board. Here we are into another rifle round, though. Complexity very quickly have evened things back up. as you said, when those rifles come into play, it suddenly becomes a little scarier, and that's certainly the way that things have worked out. Over at mid, nade goes in, big chunk damage done onto Mighty Max and Robin early on. They're going for a bit of a boost up though, and there you go, Obo gets caught off guard. Seemingly unprepared for that, and it'll be an early pickup for Endpoint.
Yeah, the other night I was commentating and I mentioned that boost. It's up on the metal little long pipes or long metal rods, and it gives you a perfect head angle up to the scaffolding in mid, the boost in mid. So cheeky little play from Endpoint. Clearly they're fans of me, Scriv. They heard me talk about it. But it is going to be an execute here. And Rush, well, he's sneaking all the way through the line. Config through the smoke doesn't even seem fair. As Poison gonna hold back 90. If anyone goes a bit too far on this back catwalk, he will have it covered. Thomas is doing a flank, and so is Rush. Who's is gonna be more fruitful? Rush does get the first, but he has to apply pressure because here comes Thomas. He shoots a dead body! He lets him know he's coming. He still gets Poison. And now Rush and Blame F may just consider getting out of this. And yeah, that's gonna be that. Endpoint. Safe little default. Don't get picked apart at the beginning. Get the opening pick and execute. That's what you gotta do. And Endpoint show them a bit of a different break at the beginning, getting mid control. And just a safe B execute because they found that mid rotator. They knew they would have the timing and spacing on config, and they're alright.
This is great, actually, from Endpoint. This is so good right now. Keeping it competitive. Sure, they kind of let it slip, but they finally, you know, get a rifle round on the board. So yeah, and I mean, it's really good, right? I think we kind of expect Complexity to get the rifles out, look really good. It's like, okay, cool, we're back to normality. Maybe Endpoint steal one away, right? Off the back of a bit of a mistake or whatever it may be. But that round's really, really clinical. And it works brilliantly for them. And now they've put themselves into pretty good stead. The money not fantastic, you know, but they're fighting back. And I think that's the key thing. Aggression from config doesn't work out, gets chunked down massively. Blame F on high that they've got to watch out for. Given a bit of time, I think might just, oh yes indeed, check it. They will. Config misses another shot as he tries to contact around the corner. Unfortunately, position given away too readily. But Poison, he's on the other AWP, of course, will pick up Crucial. That's the opening they were looking for.
Can't believe Complexity are already breaking out the double ops. I say this because it's typically a fallback plan. It's not a map you typically can double up on. It's doable, as I mentioned in the pregame, but very surprised to see it brought out this early. One hell of an investment. Rush is going to fall back for a nade on the site. Let him plant. Surreal's planting in a different spot. Ooh, and Rush is stuck. Surreal has to eat the brunt of that nade. And Surreal can't even get out of the site. Thomas. Close brick wall. Mighty Max, though, he's flanking in through Z. In mid into Z. He's going to have two lined up. Boom. Mighty Max making it look easy, Scriv. Gets to a good trade from Obo. Time's becoming an issue here for Complexity. Still a man advantage, but they have to go now. Thomas lines up two of his own. Robin, 1v1. Time's an issue. Blame F has to flush him out. Only has a flash, and he can't do it. May like to grab the op and just tuck tail and run. Endpoint. String rounds together now.
All right, let's get it. Comes close for sure, but Mighty Max in with a huge flank. Really good stuff, catching them off guard. This was a 5-on-3 situation here, so he turns it around. Upside down for Complexity, and they're not able to recover it back. So Endpoint looking very, very good. 5 rounds on the board, 2 in the lead. On the verge of breaking this economy. And really looking strong, really looking scary. Aggression, though, from Poison is checked by Crucial. They are definitely giving them a good run for their money here on Vertigo. Looking very good on the T side so far. An early pickup coming in. The AWP taken down. One of the more consistent elements for Complexity has been dealt with. And now Endpoint are in control. set to get themselves a 6th if they can make this man advantage work. Still early days as yet. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but all the same, it's exciting stuff. The Endpoint are really looking good. Flash comes in. There's no one peeking it. Config going to try again, this time with his own flash, but immediately clapped. Doesn't work out. Rush as well, going to get tagged down incredibly low. And it's a 5-on-3 that the CTs have to debate whether they want to go for this. They're going to lose A control, right? The bomb at the very least will be going down. But do they really have the cash to fight back?
I think this is a safe call right away. Rush is lit. Have no mollies to flush out angles. And Complexity playing into what Endpoint wants. They want Complexity to have the ego, Scriv. They want them to have that kind of drive and motivation to take these one-on-ones, take these opening fights, fight them. Because Endpoint, they're playing buddy system. No one is alone. Everyone is tradable. They get the opening pick, and they just go ahead and group up immediately. No hesitation from Endpoint. They can't afford any hesitation against Complexity. It's a great game plan. And their default's getting them the picks. Complexity, what's the change going to be from them? Last time we watched them play Endpoint, they started throwing 3 players towards the A ramp and really applying pressure there. Since then, the map has changed, though, Script, a little bit.
True. I think it is a really good point that you make in terms of the spacing. The fundamentals, very, very sound here from Endpoint. So, and if they've got that to work with, I think they are in for a good time on this map for sure. But we'll see. Deagle's in play. I like this as well, right? They've got the Deagle taking the early face. Tried to go for a bit of a boost up, but I think it, unfortunately, is thwarted by the quick appearance of the T side. Maybe if they had got that in a bit earlier, it could have been incredibly effective, but not going to be the case. So they lose the early man. They're not really able to trade it back. And Endpoint, they ain't want to mess with mid. They're just going to back off, take their early frag, and approaching somewhere else. They do leave presence in mid, though. Robin, unfortunately, the off angle not good enough for him. He will go down. An awful lot of damage has been done here onto Oboe, onto Rush, but evening things back up. Flash comes in. They're prepared on the B bomb site as well, with a quick rotation coming in. Surreal through the edge of the smoke will take down Oboe. Also finding Rush. Oh, goodness, it's all kind of falling apart, but they're so very low here. Poison has the potential to pick up all 3. No way. He might even get the 4th. Poison. Oh, he does go down in the end. The aim punch too much to deal with. Oh, my goodness, though. An explosive turn of events with the P250.
He just cut them all down. His teammates did all the heavy work, all the heavy lifting. He just had to clean it up, and nearly does. Now, you can see Poison lining up an early smoke, so this is the control we saw from Complexity last time they played Endpoint. I vividly remember A-Ramp being a heavy contention point with a deep smoke, them pushing up in front of the smoke. Rush, not doing himself any favors by making some noise there. He'll have to fall back. Crucial. Walking up this B player. Oboe nearly catching him. That's crucial. Looking for something with his T side up. They have to be careful not to overface in towards Poison, but Endpoint. Playing the numbers, playing the odds. Early damage dealt for them. They know Poison has the op-out. That's not going to be a surprise. What may be a surprise, however, is how alone he is. No support. BlameF can throw a flash for him, but Poison should just get one and done here. He should not escape, and he won't. BlameF can drop some nades, but they have to concede the site. Endpoint, I'm just thoroughly impressed with their mid-rounding. They're playing reactive CS Scriv, and they're playing just simple.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It is really good Counter-Strike. Nothing too flashy about it. It does actually seem like Complexity are having the flashy moments, but they're not really able to convert them. 20 seconds left here, though, for Endpoint. They do need to be careful. Oboe will take down Thomas. The bomb plant will come through, but they've lost a man in the process. They're also all a little bit chunked out. This is the best chance Complexity have had for quite some time to pull things back. Kind of taking their sweet time about it, though. They've got to start moving now. Again, you know, Endpoint really well stacked up, really well positioned. Nice little cheeky angle from Crucial to bring things back into a 3 versus 3. Deep Smoke is awkward to work with. He misses the flick and gets taken down. Surreal going to try and go for the trade. Tracks him on the edge of the smoke, but will be taken out. Mighty Max to save the day. There's not an awful lot of time, though, if he can take down the defuser. Oh, the double spray down. That works, too. Mighty Max will get the individual play. Jumps off the map in celebration, of course. Survives into the 8th round. But goodness me, everybody doing their part right now. Look at this from Endpoint.
Yeah, I mean, it is a T-sided map, but Endpoint not getting picked early, even when Poison has his op. If they do, they immediately trade it. Winning the early duels with utility and damage exchange. And just playing really safe pick and group and buddy system Counter-Strike. Nothing flashy, no cheeky lurks. They're not going for anything extra, right? They're getting the job done. They're not punching in any overtime. They're not doing anything any extra, and they don't have to. Just simple, to the point Counter-Strike. Complexity are the ones now who have to adapt. They're the ones who have to change their game plan, and they'll only have 3 rounds to do so after this one. Or sorry, 3 rounds including this one. And it's not even a rifle. So if Complexity want to make this an 8-7, don't think it's going to happen. A 9-6, perhaps. But pressure's on Complexity to change here. Endpoint can keep on rocking.
Yeah, man. They are in the driver's seat. And this is good stuff. Good stuff. You know, we may look back at the end of the map or the end of the round, perhaps, if Poison keeps hitting shots like that. And kind of question where things went wrong. But at the moment, I am kind of hopeful. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But it's looking pretty good here for Vertigo at the very least. But still got to deal with Poison. Tag comes in. Still remaining alive. Still the potential to do the damage, to pick up the frags. There's so many players that are low here. Nade comes in, drops Robin. That's the bomb out in no man's land as well with 20 seconds left. They know where Poison's at, but it's very difficult to tell where everybody else is at right now. An AK in play for BlameF. This suddenly becomes very dangerous. Poison with the crack angle. Oh, he might not even be needed. 2 quick kills for Obo and BlameF. All kinds of kills coming in. It'll be Complexity with a 4th. It's mad. But they managed to get it on the board, and Endpoint finally falter.
Well, wasn't really expecting it to happen there, Scrib. I'm going to be very honest with you. I was kind of setting us up for a rifle round, not for that one. Because these rounds have been close, and Endpoint's cash was not great. So I was kind of hoping we end the half with 2 rifle rounds. But it's a mixed one from Endpoint here. Complexity steal one away. I think robbery is probably a safe term for what we just witnessed. As BlameF goes ahead and finds Thomas. Mighty Max, yeah, refragging with a scout. He knows Rush likes being cheeky. Oh, how does the smoke eat that one? That's a little unfortunate.
See what they can get done on the Endpoint side of things. It definitely has been a tough kind of time. Crucial hitting a nice shot. Oh, that's a bit of a mess for Mighty Max. Rush does fluff the spray down a little bit, but, you know, is just able to recover because it's an M4 against a scout. It's easy times. Nice stuff from Crucial, though, playing the contact. BlameF will drop Surreal. So at the very least, retaining the man advantage here, but still dicey for sure. Still not quite out of the woods as yet. That might just do it. However, okay, doesn't spot out Robin. The smoke, little awkward for him. And now another chance at the clutch. Crazy headshot coming in onto the second. But he's being flanked out. Oh, but he's still alive. Rush might just have messed it up. Nah, the nade comes in. Unfortunate. Anticlimactic touchdown, but all the same, it is awfully close. Complexity do get their 5th on the board, though.
Whew. There was a moment there where we could have seen that becoming a reality. Nice shots there from Crucial to open up the site. Complexity, again, A ramp control, information gain, both maps. Play with information dictating your rotates. And Complexity with numbers in the right spot. A full Glock for the most part. Well, Glocks are the minority. I guess they're tied with P250s. But hey, close enough. just waiting until round 15 to get rifles out again. Our Endpoint, I think they've already done and made this an average half. I think 9-6, 10-5, kind of the average score lines on Vertigo. So Endpoint doing a nice job. They've hit the point. They've hit the numbers. The question is, can they play on the more difficult side of CT side, Scriv? I think that's exactly where it went wrong last time. If memory serves, if I remember, I'm pretty sure they got 5 or 6 rounds. You know, I'm going to go fact check myself right now, Scriv. I'm going to go fact check.
Indeed. All the rage at the moment. No, I mean, so it should be. It's a whole other conversation to be having whether social media should get involved, but you know.
Let us.
For now, we just got to make sure the Counter-Strike is correct, right?
And it looks like I was right in that assumption. Partially.
Okay.
Complexity got 12 rounds on their T side. It was a 12-3 half to start the last time they played. Endpoint got 6 rounds on their T side, while Complexity just only needed 4 to win.
Right.
So I was right. Endpoint get numbers on their T side, but their CT side is lacking the punch. I hope that's not the case today. And it might not even be that their CT side lacks punch. It's just Complexity's probably a bit more in shape. Got a harder punch.
Yeah. Would have thought so. But still, Endpoint, you know, keeping it competitive in the first half, again, is an achievement in and of itself, to be honest. Like, it's definitely more than I was expecting. I can't lie to you. So, we'll see whether they can keep it up. You never know. This momentum might help them out somewhat. All the Molotovs coming in so far on both sides of the equation. Config trying to hit some crazy bangers, but not going to happen. Taking an aggressive position. He misses the shot. Blame F, meanwhile, has picked up Surreal over at middle. Okay, that's a bit awkward. Oboe goes straight into the smoke. Finds Thomas blinded or whatever by a team flash. Config gonna go down, but Oboe still got to deal with him. They have like a quarter of the site under their control. Trying to plant the bomb. Rush comes in with another frag. Crucial and Mighty Max are so low. And that will be that. Complexity towards the end, pick it back up. It was definitely a shaky middle portion where Endpoint were looking very good. A few clutches in places, a few clean rounds in places, but evening things up as best they can. Complexity set themselves up in really good stead going into the second half.
Yeah, I think that was an awesome half. We got to see Endpoint string some rounds together, play as a cohesive unit, base a lot of what their mid-rounding was on the first pick and information their teammates had, and where the utility was getting used. Clearly well-calmed and a well-thought-out half from Endpoint, but now they're kind of in the tough situation of the CT side. Complexity have opened the doors, they've made it as close as possible, and they want to go for a run here on the T side. Are they going to be as deadly as I recall? And do Endpoints have a chance to stop these A hits, which I remember, if I remember quite frequently, a lot of them did not go Endpoint's way. Can they today? Crucial. In fact, going to get mollied out of position, and he will fall. That's a first kill for Complexity to try to get into this site. They still have smokes to toss onto the site to secure they get there safely. Smokes will hit. Rush will go. Poison has the bomb. He needs a push up to plant. And there you have it. He'll make it to the site. In fact, taps it. Wants someone to peek. Baits exactly that. The nades. What a big brain play. That's a 5-head play.
It really is. It really is. Smart guy. So the nades don't find anything, unfortunately. And now Endpoint are really, really stuck in a rut. So going to slowly start to creep forward, but some really difficult angles to deal with. Rush out on the edge of the map. Will manage one, does enough damage to get another, and yeah, there it is. Robin did a bit of team damage in there as well. Only losing the one player on the Complexity side of things. Starting off this second half, how they mean to go on. Looking very scary early on. Endpoint, meanwhile, with the force buy, we saw how close this came for Complexity. Will Endpoint be able to do the same?
Yeah, I mean, they have all the nades and everything they could possibly want to try to give themselves an opening pick. Minus, obviously, some mollies, maybe some extra flashes. So, you know, they'll say they don't have everything they need. But hey. And Complexity, you can see how they're disrespecting that ramp smoke. Finding gaps in it. Finding some fair places to just walk up. They have the right lanes picked. And this is kind of what I remember from the last time they played. Was A-ramp was a hot spot. Short was constantly fought by Mighty Max. And typically Complexity came out on top of these fights, especially in a rifle round. So it's going to be A-ramp's going to be a high contention point because not only does it give you route to sight, but it's also the easiest place on the map to get an opening pick. Middle is a bit more difficult. And it seems like Complexity have at least cracked open the A site, and they are going to finish here. Endpoint may want to elect just saving on the next 3 players. Give yourselves a chance to deal damage next round. But Complexity keeping 5 alive here. You can already kind of see the difference in what their economy is going to look like to what Endpoint's did. Keep in mind, Endpoint won the pistol and got 3 rounds for it. Well, 2 if you don't count pistol. And watch Complexity. They'll pick up pistol. They'll pick up the following round, take no damage, and you'll see how they secure 2 buys, where Endpoint was only able to secure 1.
Put their economy in a much better spot as well, right? So be a bit harder for Endpoint, because that's kind of what we saw in the first half was Complexity immediately with the rifles get a foot in the door, and then Endpoint can't really do anything to battle back because they didn't have the economy to prop themselves up. So definitely a hard start to the second half, as we kind of expected here. Still, though, those pistols and bits of armor left in play. Refresh on the nade for a couple of players as well. The HEs particularly coming out from those 3 players that saved. P2 Fiddy for Crucial, but not too much else coming in here. So might just be a rinse and repeat. I think that's what Complexity are going to try and go for here into round number 18. Early smoke, early aggression from the MAC-10 of BlameF, looking to clap some heads with his big biceps and his little gun.
He does have some big biceps. It's very true. And I don't know if what's going on with, like, it seems like the gloves seem bigger than what I remember. So, like, whenever players hold a deagle, it looks so tiny. And I swear I don't remember it looking like that. Same with the MAC-10. It just looks like BlameF's hands are just bigger than the MAC-10.
Is it something to do with, like, the models?
I think so.
Yeah, I think, like, obviously for other people they're not on, but when you spectate someone, it kind of like client side they have them on, I guess.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. It makes the guns just look all tiny. They use the water guns, poisons, AK spray. A little off the mark, gets him down to 4 HP. He's gonna have to be a little cautious. As Obo's gonna plant, there are gonna be some nades coming in. Poison gets one as he backs on up through a little bit of a spam, and Robin, that's a friendly. That's a little bit of a friendly bombardment. Surreal. 1v4, Deagle, give him the kills. There we go, 2. Obo will take him down, and you can see Complexity of 5th match number keeping 3 players alive. And you can see, even if they full buy here, once again, which BlameF and Poison have to, they'll have enough for a next round buy. 3 players will have cash. Wow, that would be true if Config didn't drop it off. But still enough to justify and say that they'll have a buy next round, regardless of how this one goes. So that's the difference between how Endpoint started their T side, how Complexity has. And you can already see BlameF, no fear. That is the exact fight I remember Thomas taking multiple times the last time they played. And BlameF typically won it. Thomas does not want a repeat of last time. Tries to take a risk into this rifle round and is immediately punished, Scriv.
Yeah, they kind of have to, I think. At this point in time, they recognize they need to be proactive, but just kind of timings, right? Thomas looked like he was completely lost and regretted his decision. How did I get here? Please take me home. But unfortunately, there is no... There's no takesies backsies. Either way, Molotovs, nades as well to follow up. A lot of damage done there. Onto Crucial. Mighty Max has taken a fair amount over the wall as well, or through the wall perhaps. But all the same, they've been softened up on the A defense. Not only have they lost a player, but they also kind of have lost half of their HP on these A defenders. So it's going to be a little tough. Rotation's floating around. I think Robin is in between A and mid right now. Meanwhile, Surreal will be the last player on the way. Another crack angle from Crucial, but smoke comes in to keep him out. Oh, goodness, needs to be careful. Bullets ringing off near him. Rush getting super aggressive. Takes out Mighty Max. Playmeth through the smoke will pick up Robin. Crucial has to be careful. Actually lands that flick. Unfortunately, does not get the frag. Not sure it would have made too much of a difference, though. 4 versus 2, as they have very little control to work with. Oh, my goodness, Surreal just about escapes before the smoke dissipates. And they will look to save here. So 11th round for Complexity on the board. Another kind of clean affair, working off the early advantage.
They're looking like they want to put this one to bed. This op save from Crucial. I'm interested to see. Now, I know Endpoint. I think they're, if memory serves, only going to get 3 round loss. Yeah. Wait, no. Are they on max loss already? They might be, actually. Yeah, $3,400. So they got $3,400. There you go. They're hit max loss. So what I was trying to think is, do they justify a force buy around the op? Because even on max loss, you can't afford really anything here. You're going to have to be next. But you have an op, which costs a lot of money. Not going to go for it. I appreciate the half buy. They know they'll get $3,400. Anything around $1,500, $1,200, you'll have enough to buy next. Give themselves a fighting chance. Let the op get involved. Surreal with his rifle. Put him in a clutch situation. And use this utility to chip them down. And Mighty Max, he wants this pick. He needs this pick. May catch them all spamming into the wall. Catches. Rush jumping. Just can't land the shot cleanly. Endpoint now. Shuffling over. And once you lose that first player towards a ramp, or once you get the first wave of utility out of Complexity, you have to fall back to the site. And it basically becomes a retake site. And now that you've lost your op, your odds have dropped. Perhaps Endpoint can grab that and just back on out. Yeah. You gotta appreciate it. It's what you gotta do.
Well, appreciate it and concede it, I guess. Once again, Endpoint. Held between their legs, having to back away, so really not looking too good at this point in time. Complexity, yeah, definitely. I think what we were expecting coming onto the T side, they have a lot more prominence here. They have a lot more preparation. But all the same, Endpoint are really, really not getting a shoe in at all. Oh my goodness, Config is incredibly fast with it. I thought too, much like the Observer, that Surreal was going to get that one with a nice little off angle as Config's creeping around the corner, but he's just too fast. Not on this man's level. Not on this man's level at all. 12th round in for them. Plenty of cash built up here. It is looking dangerous. Endpoint kind of already, to be honest, in Last Chance Saloon, you know, if they lose this one and everyone goes down, or they only survive with 1 or 2 players, it's going to be a really, really hard time, to be honest. I think they just end up force buying into oblivion, but like to see this. Robin going to get aggressive. Surreal there to back him up. Very nicely done indeed. Surreal will go down, but Robin's still around, and Robin's still confident. Playing nice and aggressive. See you later, mate. Manages to find another. Big nade going to come through. They don't push into it, but keeps them back a little while longer. Buys time for the rotations. Molly will come in, forces him away, and he gets spammed down through the panel. Topside, a pretty nice spot. However, I think it's stop. Is it stop? It's danger. Danger, I guess, or hazard. I knew there was a sign there. Stop signs on train. Bloody hell.
I'm willing to let it slide.
Thank you.
Only this time. Did you know you could boost up here? How absurd is this, eh? Jump up, you look down. That is just disgusting. The fact that you could do that and not get spotted. Commiserations. Oh! Bang! Poison with the op. Man, that is filthy. I feel Like I didn't shower this morning, but I did, Scriv. I don't know how Poison makes me feel like that, but he does. Mighty Max, unless his presence known towards the stairs, he's going to try to molly them out, but Poison is posted. 13 for Complexity. They're on their way. Endpoint. Ooh, a discussion about how to play this round. I imagine half by Crucial can even hero M4 if he'd like. But he is just going to be reserved. Play for that op next round. Not concede 14. Not make it too free. Gonna try to give a little bit of fight into it because they've kept some of the players' complexities, kind of be honest, but a lot of it has kind of inflated a wee bit.
Just a bit. Mighty Max up close, does a bit of damage. Not able to get away though. Blame F will track him down. He almost picks up that frag as well. It's certainly tough. Endpoint, their story on the CT side in some of these rounds definitely seems to be the fact, you know, that they're coming close, but they ain't quite getting those cigars, unfortunately. So, tough time. It's got to be hard when they see the damage come in after the round ends, you know, and really upset, really unfortunate time for them here. Rush just being a nuisance at scaffold. Thomas shows a little bit too much and gets chunked down to 46 HP. They do have this early advantage, but now, again, kind of softening them up, working it through. Smokes come down onto the A site to allow the bomb plant to come in. They're slowly edging their way forwards here on the complexity side of things. Definitely taking their time, as they are, indeed, just spamming smoke, spamming walls. Trying to find out the positions where the CT side, are playing from. So, real fun to watch here. Just a bit of utility, a bit of spamming. Nothing much action-packed. They do need to be a bit careful here on the T side of things. Not an awful lot of time to work with, but they'll get the bomb down. Fairly open plant as well. And now Endpoint just kind of have to consider their options, and they do not have many. They're going to look to save the armor that they've got into the next round. And 14th on the board for Complexity. Endpoint yet to pick one up.
Save the armor. Ensure the fullest of full buys next round. Save that little bit of utility. Complexity, of course, 14 as mentioned. Plenty of cash to buy out for the remainder of this half. Even if Endpoint started winning 3, 4, 5 rounds in a row. Blame F Poison didn't choose the best of pathing. I don't know why they were doing that. Perhaps having a laugh, Scriv. I guess that's always a good reason.
True. Love having a good laugh, especially at times like these, you know. Pretty important.
Also, I wouldn't mind a pause from Endpoint, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, I don't know.
It would hurt anything.
The mental and the communication, like in a situation like this. Not only are you playing against Complexity, but you're doing it for like second time in as many weeks. So I feel like they're going to be very deflated. And certainly just... There is an argument to be made that they might just have to sit down and accept their fate somewhat. Definitely a tough time. Obviously going to be giving it their all, but at the same time, you sometimes have to be realistic. And I think having, you know, played in kind of serious situations, if you start maybe not realizing reality, it can damage the team somewhat, you know what I mean? And they could get very upset with each other, which is not what they want. It's not what they want. They want to give it their best. They want to have a good time while they're doing it. Surreal, unfortunately, the off angle not going to work out. B-bomb site now right for the taking. They're going to go charging on through. And again, they just keep coming so close. Config, though, is clean with the 2k. But it's like 7 HP on Config on that spray down from Robin. Rush on 34 HP. Surreal nearly takes him out. They are coming close, but unfortunately, they're just not quick enough to the mark.
Yeah, and it's kind of the story I alluded to. Their T side, honestly, played fundamentally well, able to get the opening picks. They knew when to group. The mid round was great, but again, look at Complexity. Haven't dropped a T side round, and that's a tribute to getting control early winning those opening gunfights, and that's all it is with Endpoint right now. It's not that their positioning or the rotates aren't justified or they don't really know what's happening across the map. They know. It's just their crossfires aren't being engaged. They can't hold angles. The utility usage and complexity is too good. And Endpoint are just not all on the same page. Mighty Max is going to try to push down here, trying to be on the same page as his teammates. And this time they are. You see the difference. When 3 players fight in comparison to the 1, they lock it down. Endpoint. If you can start winning those fights, you can start doing it together. Obviously, Complexity are just getting some good timing, having some great executes. But it's the CT side of Endpoint that's lacking, which is better than the entire map lacking for them. Because it is a good map for them.
Yeah. And it really does set them up in good stead against future opponents, for sure. And I'm sure you learn an awful lot from games like this. Config fluffing the Molotov there. Little unfortunate. Got a minute left to get the bomb back. Oh, Thomas will take him down, though, showing the tip of his head, but it's all good. Right, found on the board for Endpoint. So there you go. They finally get their CT round. Still not out of the woods yet by any stretch of the imagination. They have got an awfully long way to go. The economy here for Complexity really built up, and, you know, if they're going to start to string a few together, you have to assume Complexity will manage to get the bomb down, and obviously going to build up the loss bonus, so really stacking up to be a bit of a difficult time. Early smoke coming in once again, crucial. Oh, kind of feeling the peak, but not really. Poison is trained on it and ready. So, no crazy action this time around.
Smoked out currently our Complexity. Crucial here in short. Surreal wins. Huge opening battle against Oboe. That one was going on for a while. Crucial smokes beautifully gonna bloom. Cut off short. Can't maintain it, but it doesn't let Complexity gain too much ground towards it. Oh, man down. Complexity seemingly grouping. The bomb is down at the bottom of ramp as they look to pressure Crucial and Co. towards the A site. 45 seconds. I'm going to skip ahead because by the time I finish my sentence, we're there. And Complexity hoping to be gifted a pick, not to be the case. And it'll come down the execution script. Not much of one, sadly. Not a lot of utility for Complexity, but that's all they got.
Gotta make do. See what they can get done with it. 20 seconds left. Massive gap on that right-hand side or left-hand side, depending on where you're coming from. And Thomas, he will capitalize. The bomb has yet to go down. 10 seconds left, and the bomb is dropped. They do not have a lot of time to work with here. Managed to get it. Managed to creep back in, and I think the plant just about comes in time from Rush. However, he's the only one left now. He's got to find 3 heads in about as many seconds, and he only gets 1. 10th round for Endpoint on the board. Still not super clean, still not perfect, but they're happy to be stringing them together.
That round, I'm pretty sure, I hear Complexity typing, they're asking for HP on Surreal and Robin because they felt they earned that, but Endpoint doing a really gorgeous job of baiting utility across the map. Surreal wins that fight against Oboe purely based on just icing him out. Some deep nades, some deep flashes, some good smokes, pushes through, catches the timing. B is on lockdown right now. Unless Complexity can pop through with some good flashes over the roof and try to take B stairs right away, Endpoint are doing a lovely job of contesting that. What that lets you do is if you commit 2 players towards B early, or 1 player with all the utility, tell him he can dump his entire utility set to fight for control of it. It allows you to just passively play 1 player B, 1 player spotting mid, and gives you more room to fight A. Endpoint have done a lovely job of baiting out utility, and you can see Complexity by the time they had to execute on site, A were a man down, and B had a smoke flash to use. That's it. So Endpoint, baiting out the utility, getting the numbers in the right place, winning the big fight that allowed them to hold on to that map control, and Complexity had no choice but to try to take A. Now, I have a feeling Complexity aren't going to stand for this. They're not going to stand to be locked out. They're the union men, Scriv, and they want to work. And I imagine on a map like this that supports unions, they want to get the job done, and I think they're going to pick up the pace. I think they're going to go straight back to work.
There you are. The working man looking for the successors. But yeah, and I mean, they have an awful lot of bank built up that they can use here, so... Definitely looking good in that sense, and the way the T side functions, you know. They will indeed be able to keep it rolling more likely than not, particularly if they can get the bomb down consistently, although in their mind, this will be the round that they're able to do it in. And it's as good a round as any. We will get back into the action. No AWP is missing, so it's going to be a real good time in terms of the scoped weaponry, in terms of the battle between these two AWPers, which has been a little hard to call. Poison's had some pretty massive rounds, but Crucial kind of felt impactful on the T side, maybe not so much on the CT side. Oh my goodness, look at this, they're straight into Robin, in with the 3K. They tried to just burst into B. Not gonna happen, and Endpoint clutching it up. They have no idea about that angle, eh?
That's a new one they just learned about, and it's all based on those two B players pushing for control of B stairs, not having to worry about that. It just gives so much less pressure to the player who has to hold mid. You can do so more passively. You can play angles like that. He doesn't have to use his utility in support of the B player. He can hang on to it to let himself use it towards mid. And that's what Endpoint need. More of that. This game is not done in the slightest. Granted, they're kind of playing at a one mistake, one done type of match, but what I've seen so far, they've been able to dwindle down Complexity and their money. Complexity are going to hit 3-round loss, though, and their money's still decent. So Endpoint aren't out of the woods yet. Still going to have to keep fighting at least some form of buys, but can this A site hang on? While Config tries to get out towards middle. They're buying time for Config. I think he's going to smoke off deep right side mid if he decides to push. If not, they're just going to group and execute. Crucial's here with the op. Config wants to try to bait some utility. He has none of his own. And again, it's Complexity getting starved out before they get to the site. They feel like they have to use this much utility due to how Endpoint have been playing. This time they've been able to reserve quite a bit, all things considered.
Yeah, I think Endpoint maybe kind of learning that playing a bit more passive is going to work a bit better for them. Config, though, trying to find the timing here as he gets a few sound cues in. Oh, there's a player watching for it, but you ain't beating Config in a 1v1, not when he's playing like this. He manages to creep in. He will get taken down. A slight little bit of information in, but Crucial keeps on hitting the shots. Looking good here. Bomb goes down into the 3-on-3. It's still very difficult to call in this situation, and I mean, Thomas being low is the only slim advantage that Complexity have got right now. They don't have any utility left, actually. The Molotov is maybe the only thing they can make work. Maybe that's just because they'd literally just thrown it. Yeah. Okay, I looked across to the utility. Unfortunately, Poison, he's got other ideas. He will manage to come through. There's not an awful lot of time. They tap onto the bomb, but Blame F in at the side surely has done everything that they need to do. Patience going to pay off it as well. He could hold it. Scope comes in, Blame F got a peek and can't shoot while you defuse, and Crucial 16-11 comes in. I don't know where I got 13 from. A crazy finish from Complexity, but Endpoint certainly doing well to fight back.
Yeah, they showed us that their T side can hang at the highest or close to the highest level. They know what they're doing fundamentally on their T side. Surely could have gotten maybe 1 or 2 more rounds on that T side, but they definitely showed that they is their strong side. CT side, they figured it out near the later parts. Just unfortunately, Complexity were already on such a big run. They had to keep going. It's buy round after buy round after buy round, and eventually they were bled dry. But yeah, great showing for Endpoint in the first map. Unfortunately, they lose their map pick, which sends us to Nuke Scriv. I don't know how I feel about that one, but thankfully we don't have to wait long, because after the break, we'll find out.
CT side.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're jumping into the knife round of Complexity's map pick. It's Nuke. If you weren't here for the opening match, you missed a decent game, all things considered. Endpoint came out swinging on their T side, a little late to recover on their CT. That's the harder side. By the time they recovered, it was a little too late. Endpoint winning the knife, though, on Complexity's pick, which means they'll start CT side unless they're crazy, Scriv. And they don't strike me as the type of people that are crazy.
No, I mean, definitely impressing out of the gate, right? I think we talked about it in the pregame, and I think it is fairly obvious. You do not have to be a tactical genius, a mastermind of Counter-Strike to figure out that this is a real tough matchup for Endpoint. And yet they look really, really good. I think they can be happy with the way that the first map went. Now Nuke, I feel, is going to be a very different story. Sure, they're starting off on the CT side, but still, it's going to be a real hard time here. You would expect Complexity have got a hell of a T side prepared as well. One of their more comfortable maps, for sure. But we'll see. We'll see. Endpoint, maybe, you never know. The confidence that they've got from Vertigo and how well that went for them, despite losing, right? It's still not perfect, but it's better than we expected, and they might just bring a bit of that sauce to this map here as well. And the CT side is a really good place to start. If they started on the T side, I don't think I would be saying this as much, but the CT side, it definitely is a bit more forgiving when you're a little less prepared for the map. Hearing those glorious ticks, though, getting into the action. The pistol going to get started, and we'll see what Endpoint have got.
Is it going to be all armor? Who's going to be the kit man if they want it? Robin strikes me as the type of man to buy the kit, if I've been paying attention. I haven't been. It is going to be all armor anyway. I figured they'd go for a bit more of a brawly approach, saying they are not going to let Complexity plant the bomb, because if they do, Endpoint may be in some trouble. Going to be rushed for the retake. Crucial. Shots through the smoke. A couple will land on rush. The Complexity safely get down vents. The bomb will make an appearance. Can Thomas hold them back? No smoke from Complexity. Thomas knows rush is coming, wins that fight. Can he double in and find a second? Yes, he can. The bomb is down, and a third from Thomas. Poison gets shut down. 4 from the man. Give him the ace. Crucial. Let him know what is up. In fact, they're going to give the defuse to Thomas. Endpoint go brawl style. And Thomas is ready for a fight.
Hell yeah. Let's get it. That's what we like to see. The pistol going their way. A bit of individual prowess as well. Thomas, I talked about it, I think, when I was first on the Home-sweet-home Cup way back when. And he is one of the untapped talents, I think, of the UK scene, and you see a bit of it flashing through there in that round. Bomb plant does come in, though. Complexity gonna go for the half buy. Buying a few deagles, a scout in play for poison, but they are looking to get the rifles out as early as possible, but also keep the pressure on, so... kind of half and half here. Early tag coming in. Oh, Crucial gets the kill through Poison. I think, no, it's through the floor, and then Poison takes him down. That's a bit unfortunate. I'm sure he would have loved to kill Poison, to be honest, and then he would have been okay, but... they kill in unison, it seems like, there. And it's difficult to tell who comes out on top.
Surreal. Careful. Ooh. Spicy. Spicy. Headshots galore. No head armor for Complexity. The bomb plant will secure a buy in this coming round. Endpoint off to a similar start as Vertigo, but they have to be careful not to lose one too many players. As you know, Obo's coming back for seconds. It might not look good, but he loves seconds, Scriv. And he gets handed it. Thomas is gone. M4 hits the dirt. Both players are weak. Don't tell me this is doable from Obo. Oh. He finds a third, and it's just Mighty Max, and he's on the opposite side of the map. 15 seconds. Obo has to go to A. Is he going to check second vent? Will he think about it? No. But man, is that expensive.
Yeah, to be honest, it shouldn't really be happening. And yet here we are. Things like this you can't really do much about, but, you know, Surreal Nice burst play coming in, right? It should be all said and done. Oh, goodness me, though, Obo. Just don't give him the fights. I think the first guy goes down, cool, but then they get a bit ahead of themselves, right? It's like once you've got the info in, then you know he's just got a deagle. I suppose there's trying to trade it, maybe, but it's a really tough angle. I don't know. Depends on the cut of your jib, I suppose, as they say. Depends on what kind of player you are, right? Whether you like to play super safe, or whether you feel like your teammate might get a bit annoyed at you for not trading, blah, blah, blah. It's all good, but at the same time, it's super expensive. So is it all good? It's the best of a bad situation, really, winning that round, to be honest.
Doesn't make your errors not errors, I suppose, huh?
Right.
Script? We'll see if Endpoint can run a tight ship, if they can patch those leaks. Because, you know, complexity will take advantage of that. Forcing the ramp player back. They picked a spot that obviously Thomas loves to play, and he's the one with the UMP. I love how he's the one that gets punished with the SMG, as he's the one that lost the M4. So they say, you know what, Thomas? You get a UMP. Complexity. Look to bring it back to the A site. There's a player up in rafters. That's Robin. Surreal's going to be playing back site. And as they round the corner, Robin can get the trade. They know where he is, though. Immediately traded out. 3v3. The nade may be off the mark, but Mighty Max is lurking about. Coming in through HUD. I don't think he expected this quick, but Obo, his flick. The speed of sound. I mean, maybe that's a bit over-exaggerating. But hey, sound isn't as fast as the speed of light. As Crucial's going to try to come back in. Will finally put down Obo Rush. Gets caught sleeping. And the bomb's planted for Blame, well, the front side of Silos. So it's kind of planted for Blame F. He needs to start making noise here soon. They're going to get on it. Thomas has a kit. I think that's that.
Yeah. Kind of banking on the fact that maybe they were tapping it, or maybe... I feel like, though, when he hears the smoke, he has to get going, right? Even if it's a 10-second defuse, it's a bit tough, because at best, he's given them 6 or 7 seconds to work with there. So it would have been awfully tight for him walking the whole way if they didn't have a kit. So, almost, again, very costly for Endpoint, coming all the way down to the wire, but they're able to buy up into this relatively cleanly. Complexity, once again, going for the half buy. Config, just insanely quick. Crucial. He was blinking, that's why he missed it. That was the timing that worked against him. He took a blink and unfortunately died while his eyes were shut. So, what can you do? 4 versus 3. Still looking good for Endpoint here. They're all stacked up. Rushdo coming in from behind. Absolutely massive. It looked like he was one of them, to be honest. He gets a 2k with the deagle, and he's turned it all around. How has he snuck in? How has that happened? I do not believe it, Endpoint. They've given such a big opportunity across.
Surreal in the open in a one and done spot. He gets double peaked. Ooh, his shot to the M4, it hasn't been fair. Config will put him down. Blame F is fighting. This is the fight he wants, but he can't clean it up. Both players will sprint in retreat. 35 seconds now for Blame F to work with. I'm always off the mark, Scriv. They're going to walk right into each other. As Thomas gets good timing. Beautiful.
Easy stuff. It's all good. I always add, like, or thereabouts on the end of it, you know? Trying to save the bacon, but... yeah, this... once again, comes very, very close for Endpoint, but they get their 4th on the board. Complexity has yet to get the best of them. Coming awfully close. And the thing is... as soon as they do get the best of them, there's going to be no economy available at all for Endpoint with how close these half buys are coming. Constant pressure. No breathing room at all for Endpoint. They are sweating round after round after round. Big flash comes in. A lot of damage there from Mighty Max, but not able to find any frags. He will go down on the UMP. Robin locked out at mini here. Oh, the Molotov spreads to him as well, so that's going to confirm the fact that he is there. Bomb will go down. Surreal will fall pretty quickly alongside the bomb. And a 5-on-3 and a call to save comes in for Endpoint. So there you are. Complexity, they finally break the back. They get their first round.
Not only do they get their first round, Scriv, but they do it with 5 alive. That secures an extra rifle round. So it means Endpoint are going to have to fight back-to-back rifles while they don't have money of their own. It's going to put them in a really, really weird situation, making this next round necessary to keep Complexity back. If they lose this next round, Complexity will be at 3 before rifles come back out for them. Endpoint, you keep 3 alive, you typically buy. That's kind of the rule of thumb. Plus, it's a double save for Surreal. So it should be a buy for Endpoint regardless. They've put themselves in a little bit of a pickle. Again, by their own fault of letting the pistol round... Well, they won pistol, but then letting the rounds following pistol round be as close and as expensive. It's only themselves to blame.
Crucial trying to spray on through. A bit of aggression coming in here from Endpoint, though. Mighty Max gets 1. Thomas gets 2. They are dealt with, but not before the damage is done. And Robin looking to get aggressive himself. Blame F going to go walking into Mini. Gets spotted out, but can Crucial win the fight? This is the real question here. Blame F is confident. Goes charging forwards. Going to take a second. Readjusts. Swings out. And picks up Crucial. 2 versus 2 now. Robin. Looking to find where Blame F disappeared to. So very unsure of himself. Blame F will come out at the perfect time, of course. Easy pickup. And it's all onto Surreal, who, of course, on that aforementioned pistol. So, not ideal. They're going to rush down towards B as well here on the Complexity side of things. He has got his work cut out. A smoke and a 5-7. They are kind of split up here, to be fair. So, isolate fights. Config, though, eventually, 3rd time is the charm. Gets him with the peak. And a 2nd round on the board for Complexity.
Well, Endpoint have done it. They've put themselves in that weird situation. It is thankfully only 1 save, but as mentioned, Complexity put themselves up to 3. That's granted. Crucial's Deagle doesn't absolutely bop him out of the server, but I don't like his on-scriv, I'll be honest. As much as I do like rooting for an Endpoint member, because I am a biased caster, Scriv. I cannot push the envelope any further, at least not this round.
That's fair. Unfortunately, yeah. Have to be a realist. From time to time. Really taking their time here, though, on the Complexity side, though. Really like this setup. Doesn't quite work out for the kill. Frag goes in, and although it is deep, it does plenty of damage. The fragmentation will take down Surreal. Crucial going to fall pretty quickly as well, and the A hit going to come in here. Bit of a fake outside, so we might see a bit more of that. And Blame F, you know, is on the other side of things. Mighty Max, unfortunately, dealt with, as he did, I think, catch Config off guard. Thomas creeping in here with the CZ. Nothing coming his way, though. So, looks like it'll be a 3rd round on the board for Complexity, and probably quite cleanly here as well. I feel like as soon as Thomas peeks into this, he's a goner. He's a dead man. Yeah. Shows the shoulder and then just bolts straight out of there. Gonna take his CZ into the next round, I guess.
Again, Complexity not punished economically, though, Scriv. 5 alive. Basically, every time you keep 5 players alive and they all rifles in their hands, it's another round. It's another buy round. It makes your CT side that much more difficult. Obviously, Complexity didn't have much choice there. I would have liked to seen them all commit and die, though. It's not like Complexity are going to make money off of you. You might as well try to hurt their money, because now they're kind of giggling. They're set up for tons of success. Don't even need to break out the op yet. They're going to keep rocking with the rifles. The op comes out for Crucial, and he's going to be heading towards ramp for a pick. We'll see if Complexity give anyone a chance of getting picked, if anyone heads that way. A pretty standard start from Endpoint. One mini, one site, one heaven. Op goes towards ramp. And they do have actually Crucial pushing in towards Secret. So he runs all the way through. They'll leave Thomas alone at ramp with a molly. Keep in mind, no kits. And just look at the utility. It's going to be hard for Thomas to hold this. Has to jiggle, must drop his molly. Instead, he waits. He wants to hear the footsteps. He knows he has to be timid, because that molly could come in clutch later.
Roll towards ramp, towards B. Thomas, out in no man's land. Got to win these fights. He gets one, but traded back. Crucial as well. Gooshed out and forced off the angle. Max is around at decon. Plant coming in. Door opens. He's trying to spot someone. Unfortunately, not going to be the case. Didn't want to swing for it either initially. Blame F, meanwhile, on the backside. Drops Robin, and now is another thing for the CTs to deal with. Flash will come in towards decon. Config gets aggressive, loses the fight against Max. And Obo goes down on ramp. So into a 3 versus 2 with Poison kind of being isolated here. Will be traded back. Blame F, meanwhile, has crept down the vent, coming in behind. Surely they do not expect this. However, closing the door gives the game away. He manages to spray one off the bomb. They don't have a kit to work with, and flashing, spamming the door, takes out Max, takes out Crucial, clutches it up for Complexity. Will go down with the bomb, but it's a 4th on the board.
Well handled by Complexity. Scrav, we're starting to see the deadliness that is Complexity. Always posting up for the next play. Guns always ready for a good fight. And they chased that round down and made it theirs. Endpoint. Pistols. Little or no utility. Already one player gone, and Complexity have found the gap. They found the hole in the defense, and they have snuck through. Blame F just going to be playing the exit games, the bonus kill games. This is going to be Complexity taking the lead on the T side early, and on top of that, at least 2 to 3 buy rounds secured.
Oh, Blame F will go down. Oh, Config will go down. They might just be able to save some weapons across here. I think, unfortunately, Obo is watching Config's weapon, but Thomas has gotten himself a free AK. Rush got to be careful, too. He's on the hunt here. Surreal might not expect him. Don't even know if he goes towards Secret, to be fair. But they are pretty close to each other here. Surely he just checks his left in a second. No, not going to be the case. Just chilling. They're right next to each other and have no idea. And there you go. 5th round for Complexity, bit of damage done. Endpoint saving across an AK in the hands of Thomas, but now need to think about getting a round back on the boards. They have lost their lead. Their economy not in a good place in terms of the reserve, at least. So really good chance for Complexity to start running away with the game if they take this round, honestly. I think they're going to have to think about doing something a bit unorthodox, and Crucial getting aggressive ahead of the smokes. Maybe that's it, but he's been spotted. He's been tagged down incredibly low. Nade comes in. Spam comes in. He goes down. They were fully prepared for that.
Wow. Complexity not caught off guard at all. They're not caught sleeping, Scriv. They're wide awake. They are playing some clean Counter-Strike. Very trade-based. Leading Blame F towards outer yard to clean up kills and find the late rotators. He's done a good job of this so far. And just timing was great. Surreal just wins the fight. Op picked up. Complexity will get 6 on their T side. 5 is the number they want. Anything past this is just bonus. and they're gonna hunt. They can lose all these guns. They don't care. They take these away from Endpoint. They are gonna be limping in the next round.
Yeah, it's definitely spiraled here, I think. But what can you do? What can you do? Nuke is such a good map here for Complexity, and it is showing. Obo in with the 2 kills at the end will eliminate all the weapons of Endpoint. 6-4. Thomas has got cash. He might purchase something up here. He's also on 11 frags, so there you go. Top fragger. Hell yeah. Individually doing well, but unfortunately the team not converting as much, and you kind of have to argue some of those kills are in rounds that they've already lost, you know, deagles and tail end kind of situation. On to another pistol half buy. Thomas does indeed purchase up a little bit more than the rest of his teammates, but nothing to write home about here. Complexity have kind of struggled against these buys in the past, but still generally tend to convert them.
Hold on. Robin has an AK. Well, had an AK. Thomas. When the Deagles swiftly dealt with, just crucial now. But he does have armor behind his Deagle. Perhaps there's a chance for him to find a kill. Or 2. Maybe. He'll try. Give the old college try. Into hut, where he'll slowly walk on up. Complexity, I love this from them. They're just, why move? He'll come to us, they say, and they may end up being right, because Crucial's patience is wearing thin. He needs information. He needs to know what's what. Obo peeks, and Obo finds him. 7 Complexity, all icing on the cake, all bonus rounds. Endpoint, can they clean up? Will the Oppa Crucial in this round make a difference? And can they hold off the initial wave for Complexity that sets up their mid-round calls that typically wins them the rounds?
All right, let's get it. Endpoint looking to make the 2 AWPs work, but it'd be easier said than done. Complexity being a very formidable opponent for sure. Config tagged up early on, so that's a little something that is working in their favor here on the Endpoint side of things. A little bit of a slow take outside. The executes coming in. Complexity have really picked up the pace, I think, in these past few rounds. We're seeing some very early outside executes, actually. Player trying to make his way up towards heaven in the form Config. He will drop down. He will pick up Surreal. He gave his position away, so looking pretty good. Mighty Max, though, will trade back Poison, so it's still being kept nice and interesting. Config on high, Crucial over at the secret stairs needs to be very careful indeed. Rush, meanwhile, pick up Mighty Max, who I think was on a bit of a flank. Flame F. Oh, okay, actually goes down. They must have known, you know, that each other were there. Maybe he landed a flick. You would have thought he would have that dead to right. It's not the case. It's Config, though, who has to strike. Robin's watching his position for now. Timing going to be absolutely everything. They push out. He picks up both of them. So there's that. Config does trade him, but not before he's done the damage. 30 seconds left. Config, once again, after the earlier damage that he had taken, is left on 55 HP. So this is definitely doable here, Keith.
He's going to be looking for the 1v1. It's going to be against Crucial. Hand removed. Does he expect this player towards heaven? He does! Oh. Config will clutch. How many times have I said that, Scriv, when we commentate Complexity? It feels like it happens a minimum of twice per match with Complexity, where Config has to pill around out of his hat, even though he's not the type of guy to wear a hat. But, wow. Unreal headshots. That was a 4K for him. And you know Thomas thought he had him dead to right.
Goddamn. Goddamn, they're going to go in for a fast round this time. Super confident stuff. Oh my goodness, 1 kill comes in for Endpoint. The round is over in 10 seconds. Complexity on with their 9th. They got stuff to do, Keith. They want to be out of here, you know. They want their spot in the semis, and they just want to go grab some lunch, you know. They are looking to clean up house. Another buy for Endpoint, though. I guess the buy comes faster, and they don't have to sit around and just wait for a bit of an inevitable loss in that round. Happens nice and quick. Rip the band-aid off nice and fast. 1 for 1 so far. Another fast round coming in from Complexity. This time a little less successful, right? It's 4 versus 4. Poison's left low. Config drops down. Config gets a free kill. And it will now be an advantage for Complexity.
Mighty Max trying to lock down the site. Good 2 kills. HP advantage is in Complexity side, but Surreal can have the drop here. He has the timing. Does he capitalize? Because the longer he takes, the more time this player in Heaven has to shift around, config, and clear things out. Plus, the more Complexity figure out that, yeah, they push through lobby. They're probably sitting on top of our bomb. That sucks. That's not good. So Complexity going to attempt to retake lobby, but Surreal's playing such a long game. He's going to let Robin fight to his death and ramp. Even if Robin gets 1, it's perfect. Because how do you clear out Surreal? As Robin looks to fight, config, gonna chase him back. And Robin's forced out. Now, you might be able to pick that bomb up through the wall. You used to be able to. I think they patched it. So you can't pick it up through the sheet metal door anymore. Surreal drops the bomb once again, tucks back into his wall. Oboe has to face. Oboe's dinked. Well done by Surreal, whose M4, may I say, has been clean.
He's looked so good with it on this map. Did pretty decently well on the previous as well, to be honest. So, really nice to see. There are things to build upon, in all honesty. Yeah, so Surreal top fragging on Vertigo as well, actually. 17 kills, so really good stuff from him. Across the course of the series, another fast round coming in, though, to finish the half here. And now, not this time, Complexity. Endpoint are ready. They will mow them down straight into the meat grinder. Fool me once. And all that good stuff. Blame F will be the only one left here in a 1 versus 5. So, Endpoint might just have been given a bit of an olive branch towards the end, picking up a couple rounds. But 9 rounds on the T side of Nuke should be more than enough for Complexity to clean this up. But we'll see. Maybe Blame F can do something incredible. Oh, Surreal playing with fire. Ah, never mind. Takes him down. Wallbangs him, of course. And there you go. 6th round on the board for Endpoint. And a flawless one to finish it off with. Very nice. But 9 in a row for Complexity. So definitely a tough time. It is safe to say.
Another CT side Striv that started well, but again, economically shot themselves in the foot. And Complexity run away with it. Endpoint. Again, I don't think... I mean, we haven't seen their T side here yet, but their CT side seemingly cannot hang on to Complexity's firepower, the way they take map control. They systematically got picked apart. Now, their T side is going to be hard being down 9-6. It all starts with Pistol, building that early buffer. But even when they win Pistol, seemingly, they can't build the economy, so hopefully that changes for them. Pistol... a good place to start as Thomas looks to come towards ramp. Poison is here. USP baiting for the player behind boxes. There's no way they're going to expect a third person to be here. They do clear him out, but Poison, Rush, everyone getting kills left, right, and center. Robin, 1v3, has to deal with Rush and Poison, both with 2 kills apiece. One of them may walk away with third. Robin has no utility, no armor. Into a headshot angle against USP's. Good luck. And being flanked. Yeah. And gone. 10 for Complexity. Endpoint. No plant. Perhaps he leads to a force buy here. Or they full save into a buy and just lack a little bit of utility. I'm cool with that too. And it seems like that's the path they'll choose.
Yeah. Path of least resistance, I guess. Trying to employ a little bit of the economic smarts. Big nade damage. Coming through, however, Poison on the A1S, nice and crisp. Will run out of ammo, so has to swap across to the USP, and now needs to be careful that he's low. Ideally, don't want anyone to go down here. Never mind, he will find 4 frags. Eco frags, but frags nonetheless. An 11th round in for Complexity, and now Endpoint. Very early on into this second half, feeling the burn, feeling the pressure, feeling the game slipping away from them slightly. So, moving on to the AKs. Bit of utility, but like you say, it is lacking in places. However, I think they've got enough to work with here. We'll see what they've got. And this is a good chance where there's 2 MP9s and an auto shotty for them to make a decent effort at winning the first rifle round. Oh, no. Okay, Robin manages to get both of them. That could have gone horribly wrong. It's actually gone perfectly for Endpoint. He was quick switching randomly, but it's all good. The CS gods were looking over him today, and he manages to ultimately solidify the round. But the rest of the boys coming in as well. It's all on to Blame F.
Well, there we go. Guns come out, Scriv. The AKs make their presence known. Robin is someone I've been impressed with all series long. Thomas, of course, thrown in that same mix. And they have forced Complexity out. But I am curious as to the math in my head. $1,900 or $1,400. I think it's just a pistol buy from Complexity. They might speak out a buy, just maybe Scriv, but I think they're just going to err on the side of caution. Put Blame F in a frag heavy spot, maybe top hunt with the M4, see if you can't get some freebies. But to me, Complexity is correcting me as a team to err on the side of caution. I suppose Blame F could drop configs to get full utility. They may elect to buy, and that's what they'll do. So Blame F does drop, and they will buy. I'm very surprised by this. I'm going to be honest. I see why they're buying, but at the same time, I think a half buy and try to get the op out in Poison's hands early might have been a better plan of attack. But hey, it's Complexity, and they're confident, so they're going to take the risk.
Yeah, I mean, definitely been paying off for them the vast majority of the time, right? But it's a really good opportunity here for Endpoint to claw their way back in. Still a tough ask, still a bit of a monumental climb here on the T side of things, but ultimately fought fire with fire in the previous round, and it really did work for them. I think Complexity, the thing is, you can tone aggression down, right? They certainly were getting in the face of their opponents. If their passive setups weren't working, and then they went aggressive, and that didn't work, that's when you start to worry. But I think if they're taking a bit of initiative and it doesn't work, they, like I say, can turn it down. They can change it up a bit. And that's what they've gone for in this round. And now, as you can see, Endpoint, a minute has gone and they've not really gained any ground. They try to gain ground. It's straight into Poison. They have to check all the angles. Crucial. Just get the trade back in. Surreal, though. No lurk today, sir. Blame F as well, the next port of call. And they're just not quite together. Crucial is not in position to trade that frag. And it will be a 4 versus 2 coming in with the bomb down and the rotations in. Not looking good for Endpoint.
Not looking the best. No utility in these post-plant script makes this oh so difficult. Means it's going to be an aim fest. Robin has to deal with 3 players coming from double doors. Yeah, good luck. Crucial in dark may be able to help and alleviate some pressure. He's going to have to do some work. As Robin backs up, gets spotted. Good flash. He's down. Crucial banged out by Rush. 12 for Complexity. Endpoint. Bomb planted. The lost bonus completely not gone. It'll be another full buy. And look for Config to drop an op to Poison. Perhaps. No. Surprised, because every time I watch Complexity play Nuke, they like prioritizing the op for Poison. He seemingly does work with it. But not yet. They feel they don't have to. Endpoint, of course, as I mentioned, plant, lost bonus, full buy. Gonna keep Complexity honest, keep them on the straight and narrow. And Crucial would have loved an opening pick, but it doesn't seem like he'll find one.
Bit tough. Maybe if he'd have pulled the trigger slightly earlier. But that, of course, the nature of the game. BlameF once again going for this smoke here. Does love it. Oh, they've got to be careful. I think they're kind of savvy to the fact that he plays above it. So not really going for the wide swings. Not trying to fight, not trying to contest. Oboe, though, through the smoke, gets a quick headshot onto Crucial. That's painful. That's a real kick in the teeth, and he leaves Surreal on 5 HP. Oboe, an absolute monster through the smoke, and there's just nothing they can do because he's only crisping off a 5 or 6 round burst. And he's able to just escape. Poison, meanwhile, has gotten aggressive into lobby. So much info here. Thomas watching the wrong side. Peeks out, gets taken down. And into a 5-on-3 with the super low HP Surreal, the slightly low HP Robin. This is looking good for Complexity.
Little worrying. Still a chance for Endpoint to pick this round up. They have positioning, they have bomb, but I think they're just going to retreat to CT and save. I don't know. I guess forcing this is going to be the call. One pop flash. Will Rush dodge it? Can Oboe not be blind by it? 8 seconds. Config taps one of them as they fall. Moneyback has to take the plant. No support as Surreal had to throw the flash. 13 for Complexity. Endpoint have been halted. They've been stopped without the plant. You could tell that plant was huge. It would have secured a buy. Instead, they will be stopped. That's not even fair from Oboe. Didn't even seem right. Complexity up to 13 now, Scriv. 14 because obviously Endpoint can't buy. And I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to Complexity, which I think is fair to do.
Ooh. BlameF getting aggressive this time around. You can see why. Clean double spray down. A triple in total. And it will be a 4 versus 2. Robin and Crucial to pick up the pieces. But they're so confident right now on the Complexity side of things. It's just not going to happen. 14-7. Endpoint with a monumental task ahead of them. They indeed picked up a nice round, but Complexity are very quickly able to bounce back and just keep the ball in their court, as it were. Being greedy with it. They ain't playing nice. They're playing dirty. Throwing sand in the face of Endpoint before they go for the serve, and it's making all the difference, as you can see. Got the AWP out for Poison as well this time around. Config, super aggressive, will actually get taken down. Surreal robs him of the frag, reacts quickly, and suddenly this looks like a very doable situation if Endpoint are able to capitalize. Bit of a lineup here for Surreal. Been doing his homework as well as his DMs. And there you go.
A execute in full swing. Rush not spotted yet. 1. Can he get 2? No, Surreal so low on HP. Rush just gets caught sleeping a little bit. Oboe wide awake. Pushing forward. Thomas off the mark. Bomb is dropped. Oboe, did he mask the sound dropping top hut? No, Crucial knows. But are they ready for Poison? Did they overlook this one? Poison knows the other player was front sight, scoping, hoping. Crucial dancing around, but Poison connects the shot. 2K for him in the round. Complexity get to 15 match series point. And Scriv, do you remember the score of the first map?
16-12, I want to say, off the top of my head.
Okay, never mind. It was 16-11. 16-11, and I was wrong. I said we wouldn't see double digits. We won't on Nuke. We did on Vertigo. So I stand corrected. As Poison looks to go aggressive this round, and Complexity, overstepping and put into their place, or at least back into their lane, which, I mean, it doesn't matter. The fact that Rush does that with an M4, Config coming up with Secret, that's free. Thomas and Robin get caught out on the flank. Oboe hears it. How aware is he? And it's Thomas, the last man standing for Endpoint. A 1v3 to keep Endpoint going. They had their moments. They looked great on T-side Vertigo. Their CT side of Nuke was starting to shape up. but just too far gone in both maps. Too hard to make the comeback. I'd like to see Thomas do this as he grabs the bomb, but the odds, Scriv, do not seem to be in his favor. There's a player even pushing in the lobby, so Thomas has to be very decisive as to where he would like to go. It looks like he is considering crossing secret, and Rush is in mini. They're going to fight. Rush will take him out. 16-7 for Complexity. All our predictions were correct. We all had Complexity, and can you blame us? But there are some silver underlinings for Endpoint Tea Time that I think, you know, they're worth talking about.
Before that, can we just address that Complexity is kind of good at Counter-Strike?
They're not bad.
It seems like, yeah, like maybe someone like gave them a contract. Scriv, maybe you even give them a salary for playing a video game. It sounds like they kind of deserve it at this point, but they look pretty good, Scriv.
Yeah, I mean, they look pretty damn good. They did look pretty damn good on Nuke for sure. I think we're gonna have an awfully good conversation about the way that Vertigo went down. But yeah, Nuke looks really good, only dropping the one round on their CT side. I think if they'd have started on the CT side, it would have been a very, very different story. But regardless, you know, of what system we use, the knife round goes the way of Endpoint. If we use the kind of vote-based system, they'll be starting on the T side. So I think they were fully prepared for their T side. And it showed, because they still kind of dominated in the middle portion, right? Without the pistol, Endpoint fall apart. So a really, really good showing on Nuke. But like I say, Vertigo is a very different story. I'm quite happy with the way that Endpoint played it, honestly.
Well, listen, before we talk about Endpoint, Keith, I need you to address this because I feel like there's a conspiracy going on.
Okay.
That Complexity, you know, Jason Lakes basically told his players that, all right, fine, you guys need to lose one best of one in every single group stage ever. So you go up against Endpoint and make sure that Crucial and Surreal never get a career again. Because that seems to be like what's going on. Jason Leaks just rubbing them in, pushing them further and further into the grave. Because Complexity, each time they dominate them even harder than before, it seems like.
I think it's just a case of Endpoint being the most unlucky team around. I mean, if anything, it gives them confidence to try to just win out in the groups, right? And give themselves a better seed to perhaps get away from Complexity, who seemingly always drop a map. But yeah, it's so unlucky. Even when they get out of Complexity, they still always come back full circle. And now Complexity moves from North America to Europe just to continue this winning spree and improvement. And I mean, commiserations to them, because they had some good moments.
Yeah, like Crucial, Surreal, you didn't get me to that one major. You're never getting through to the Home Sweet Cup finals. That's it. That's done. We've decided it. But Scriv, Endpoint did look good on Vertigo. And, you know, you seem excited to talk about that, so I'm not going to be the one to stop you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, look, man, I think they look really, really good. Comprehensive T-side coming in from them, which is really cool. And unfortunately, moving on to their CT side, it was not quite as impressive. It was a little harder. I think there are so many individuals to deal with on the defensive side of things as well. When Complexity are coming at you, you take out the first guy, and then the second guy is immediately there with, you know, a quick trade. But it was still really impressive, and the fact they strung three together towards the end as well. You could maybe argue complacency from